Okay, so Gail, it's lovely to meet you, and thank you so much for... So I just wanted to ask a little bit about your background in terms of, obviously you're very famous for writing very strong female characters like Batgirl, Red Sonja, and I wondered a little bit about your background with women in refrigerators and how that's influenced what you've done, and how, if you're happier writing these strong female characters, and why you feel it's important.
With Women in Refrigerators, that just came about. It's basically a website where we ask the question, is the treatment of female characters in comics, this is back in 1999, possibly the reason why there wasn't more of a female audience at that time. Mm-hmm. And at that time there was a trend, which we were thankfully coming out of it within the industry, but there was a trend to depower, rape, maim, chop up the female characters, just so that the male character could vow his vengeance and move on with the story, and the story was no longer about those female characters. So not only did we not have the female characters as they were, as powerful adventurers, the story was no longer about them. And I felt that might be a little problematic as far as a strong female audience. And then the other reason why I really love writing strong female characters, and strong characters of any kind actually, is that they can have such a powerful effect on a reader, whether they're male, female, or wherever they come from, to take a character that, particularly if they start at a real kind of beaten down point and build themselves up and become really strong and live their life the way they want to, despite the obstacles that they're put in front of them. And I just think that it gives us interesting stories to tell. They're important. These characters are important to people as more than just plot devices. And I grew up in a family of strong women, so it's kind of I have a little bit of a background as far as seeing strong women in action.
Yeah. And how about the way the female characters are designed, just in general, the way they look, their costumes? Do you feel that there is a move towards a less sort of sexualized image of women in the designs, or how do you feel that's sort of working?
Well, for me, it's all about diversity, and we can have really sexualized characters and sexy characters and things like that, but I think that when we only have one body type is when it becomes a problem, or one art style, it becomes a problem. I like to see all different types of sexiness in comics, especially that comics have always been kind of subversive and sexy, and I like the male characters to be sexy as well. Yeah. And I just want to see diversity, all size boobs, all colors, all gamut, all along the sexual spectrum, from different areas, small towns, large towns, other countries. It's just all about diversity for me.
And speaking of the sort of sexy male characters, what is it that attracted you to Wolverine when you were writing Savage Wolverine? Is it, obviously he's a strong male character as well?
Well, it's fun once in a while. If people who have followed my career know that one of the first mainstream things that I did was Deadpool, which is probably the most testosterone male characters out there, and it's just fun once in a while to be able to write a character like that. I don't only like to write female characters, I like to write a variety of characters, and Wolverine is just one of those badass characters, and I thought it'd be fun to put him in a little bit different situation than he's used to.
And in terms as well, we have a lot of young female writers as well who write for us. How do you feel it is now in the industry? I mean, I think when you first started, maybe it was more male dominated. Do you find now there is more of a trend that there are more female writers and artists involved?
I definitely do. It has just changed by leaps, especially the last couple years. We're getting a huge variety of creators coming in, a lot of female input, and I was really happy that the True Believer Awards last night, Fiona Staples won, several awards, and lots of female creators were nominated in all categories across the board, and that is huge, and it's huge to for the industry to acknowledge that there's a market out there for their work is huge, and all the way to the smaller independent stuff that are webcomics. That influence is huge too. It brings in more of an audience all the time, and comics can support a huge variety of material, and it's exciting to see that taken advantage of, and I can't wait to see what the future brings and how much more it's taken advantage of, because really when you think about it, there's no special effects budget. We're not paying actors. We can we can tell any kind of story that we want in any setting we want. Anything we can dream up. Why limit it?
Yeah. Is there any character that you really want to write, that you really love and you'd love to get your hands on and work your magic with?
There's several things that I think would be really fun to do that I haven't done. I would love to write some Doctor Who stuff. I would love to write Judge Anderson in particular. I'm really intrigued about the Marvel family in terms of Mary Marvel and Junior and Captain Marvel. And I mean, there's just loads. But this next year, I am really focusing on things that are creator-owned that I've created from the ground up, new characters, things we haven't seen before in comics. And I'm very excited about that because, again, I think that the medium needs to be explored to try to hit its full potential.
Can you give us any kind of sort of visions into the future?
Well, I can't really announce anything right now, unfortunately, but announcements are coming soon. I have a new book I'm starting at DC that will start in November, and I'm going to hint at that largely at a panel this afternoon. And then I have some creator-owned stuff coming out in 2015.
And the final question really is that we have a lot of really young writers and artists as well who are just starting out and want to make their mark. Is there any advice that you would give to them in terms of your own experience and how they should continue their work?
Well, I think that it's really important when you start to get to that professional level that you bring your own voice with you and you stick to your convictions and you really sit down and do the work in terms of figuring out what it is that you personally have to offer that no one else can offer. So whether that's your perspective, your tone, your way of telling stories, your artwork, the look of it, whatever that may be, really sit down and figure out what it is that you want and that you don't think is already out there, where the holes are in the industry and what you can do to fill those in. And then for God's sake, finish what you start, because there's a huge problem with people wanting to be creators and do get these fabulous ideas they have in their head out there, but then they don't complete the work. And you really have to sit down and complete the work and know it's work. It's not easy. It doesn't always come really quickly and easily, and you just need to work through it and not be lazy about it.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to us. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.